nothing. I made a reservation. Do you have my reservation?
Yes, we do. Unfortunately, we ran out of cars.
Double bacon cheeseburger. It's for a cop.
Roger. What's that all about? You gonna spin it now?
No, I was just telling him that say makes it good.
But the reservation keeps the car here. That's why you have the reservation.
I know why we have reservations.
I don't think you do. If you did, I'd have a car.
Don't spit in that cop's burger.
Yeah, thanks.
Roger, only fit.
Yeah, well, I'll see you tomorrow then. Gobble, gobble. Oh, bye-bye.
Give me a liter of cola.
A what?
A liter of cola.
Liter cola? Do you make liter cola?
Will you just order a large farva? I don't want a large farva. I want a liter of cola.
I don't know what that is.
Liter is French for give me some cola before I break loose.
All right, relax.
Okay, I believe you have to fill out a form for that.
No, I'd like my money back now.
I'm sorry, it doesn't work that way. You see, I have to fill out a form and, well, you ate most of it already, so...
I'm sorry. We stopped serving breakfast, but we are on lunch menu now.
I want breakfast.
Well, you can't have it. We're not serving it.
Mister, if you don't shut up, I'm gonna kick 100%
Look at
of you...
Steve Martin's face when he pulls it back up.
is there a problem here?
Hi, I'd like some breakfast. We stopped serving breakfast.
See, you know how to take the reservation, you just don't know how to hold it. And that's really the most important part of the reservation, the hold. Anybody can just take them.
Oh, they didn't show it. Did y'all see Steve Martin's face in there? Oh, man. Well, first of all, good morning again. Glad everybody could make it. Thank you for being here. You know, the topic this morning is about Raving fans, and what my goal is for the meeting this morning. And by the way, Gail, thank you so much for setting us up. We would have been at least 5 more minutes late. But there's a difference between having just normal customer service and creating what's called a raving fan. Okay, and there's actually a book that I would recommend if you want some side reading on this and you want to dive in yourself. It's called Raving Fans, and but we've all experienced this, right? I mean, everybody here has had an experience somewhat similar to this kind of service, right? Have we not? Matter of fact, has anyone had an experience with poor customer service that they would like to share that was like worthy of being, mentioned in the meeting?
Actually, it seems like it's happening more and more often anymore, in my opinion. But this was a couple of years back. I went to the grocery store for about 6 items, nothing very expensive. She rings up the 6 items and tells me it's $38.42 or something like that.
Right.
I said, no, ma'am, it's not. And she just looked up at the, she says, yeah, there it says so right there on the screen. I said, ma'am, look what I've got here. And it didn't come over to $15. And for 5 minutes, I was trying to convince her and finally get somebody from the next aisle. You forgot to clear out the previous.
Oh, wow.
Since she couldn't, I was showing what they added up to, and she just, she was right and I was wrong.
Mm-hmm. Right? So no matter whether you're right or wrong, you're wrong. I have a friend who we were in college, and I'll never forget. I mean, going back that far, you remember something like this, but the guy was studying to be an attorney. I mean, he was just a brilliant guy, and is an attorney now. But anyways, me and 3 other guys were sitting there at IHOP at like 1 in the morning after having studied a big long study session, and we're just chumming it up. We're having a midnight breakfast, eating greasy whatever, and well, actually before we'd eaten, they were taking our order, and the lady, he clearly told her, I want this kind of omelet, I want it this way. I don't want any cheese. Please, no cheese. Well, of course, the omelet comes with cheese in it and on top of it. All right? And he's like, ma'am. And he's like one of the most humble, like, just soft-spoken, like, he's not the kind to complain at all if you go to a restaurant typically. And yet, he just really didn't want cheese. And so he politely asked the waitress, you know, can you please make me one of these without cheese? And she says, oh no, sir, you asked for cheese. I heard you. You specifically said you wanted cheese. And of course, all of us are like looking at each other like that, you know, like, and he's like, ma'am, he was so polite, like 2 or 3 times, ma'am, there's been a mistake, you know, of course at that point all of us were just like, oh, what's going on? But at the end of the day, she just would not change her mind. That she was so, in her mind, he said cheese, and in her mind, he wanted cheese, and they probably even gave him more cheese, you know. But I'll never forget, he finally just erupted, and he said, ma'am, I'm lactose intolerant. I don't eat cheese. I specifically said no cheese. And so, you know, of course, you know, she changed the order. But the thing I remember the most about that story was when this guy just would always tip very well, and he still does. But he wrote a big 0 with an X, you know, like the line through it on the tip, because of how badly, you know, what customer should have to do that, right? So this morning, you know, think about that as one end of the pendulum, right? Some of the worst experiences you've had. I know for me, calling, anytime I got to call the cable company, a cell phone company, typically, some of them are getting better, but think about that experience, and then how did it make you feel? How did that experience make you feel? How would it make you feel if you were the guy that said, I didn't want cheese, I'm lactose intolerant, I never ordered cheese?
I wouldn't go back again.
You wouldn't go back.
Yeah.
But why? What's the feeling? What does it make you feel? Think about it. What is it that the feeling that would make you come to the conclusion, I don't want to go back again?
Anger. Well, they don't care
Anger?
about you.
I think that would
They don't care.
right?
Disappointment.
Maybe like I wasn't heard. In this case, very clearly he wasn't heard, you know, because maybe she wasn't paying attention, you know. Angry, trapped, like crap. I don't have time to go to another restaurant. I'm here. This experience has already happened, right? I've chosen to do business with this company. There ain't no getting out easily. You know, the switching cost will be too high, so I feel trapped. Maybe disrespected. I think that's the one that, for me, you know, do what you want to, but don't you disrespect me. I'm the customer here, right? So this is the face. I just, you know, like have you ever just had to, even if you don't have the face, have you ever just felt like that? Like, I'm gonna kill you, you know. This is terrible. That's one way into the pendulum. So believe it or not, that's not what we're going to talk about this morning, because if that's the kind of realtor and that's the kind of service that you provide, I can't help you. Okay? So from this point on in this course and in this class, what I'm going to assume is that everybody in here has at least some understanding of a minimal level of customer service. Okay? So we're actually going to talk about the other side of the pendulum this morning. So why do we have bad customer service? Okay? Here's the thing. This is what's interesting, and there's a lot of research about this. In fact, there's whole studies of courses of study in higher education. People write dissertations on very specific parts of customer service. There's all kinds of studies about customer service, service recovery, which we'll talk a little bit about this morning. And there's so many dynamics to it. It's not even funny. But here's where it comes from. You know, we all know about the Industrial Revolution, right? it produced this assembly line kind of mechanism for producing goods. And what happened was, that kind of thinking emanated into all business. Okay, right? Assembly lines, in order to make assembly lines, you had to be able to stamp and cut and print. So the entire educational system of our country, through this, the whole goal used to be able to stamp and cut and just be able to make prototypes, right? Good managers, good employees, good assembly line workers. You got to have these skills to be able to do this thing, to be able to do this, right? And the whole purpose of that was to be able to produce the good at a lower cost, right? Because there was a race towards who can make things for less, right? And so we live in this right now where Walmart has a larger economy than several countries in our world right now. I mean, they literally economically have more of a GDP, if you will, more of a revenue stream than and asset base than entire countries do. Okay, so but what became valuable was delivering that product at a lower cost. Okay, so because of this, our expectations of customer service are at an all-time low. Think about it. You know, if all of our idea of value, you get what you pay for kind of thing, is based off, if we tend to think of value in terms of how much can I buy for as little money as possible, right? Then what do we do with customer service? Where does that component of a transaction or a sale go? Does that make sense? I'm getting somewhere with this. Y'all hang with me. I hope you're following me here. And the little cartoon says the planet Earth, and then some other planet where people still dare to expect good customer service. Okay, isn't that the truth?
Yep.
So if this is the state of customer service, what is the downside and the upside for you and me? And I gave you a couple hints with the graphics there. So if this industrial way of producing goods and emanated towards the service industry, where I'm trying to serve as many people as I can, so that I can keep the cost down, so that I can have more customers, so I can sell widgets for less, so that I can sell more and make more money. What is the downside and the upside of where that led us to in customer service? Does that make sense what I'm asking? What's that picture right there? What is the guy doing?
Going away.
Huh?
He's dying.
He's leaving.
Right, but what is this guy
No,
doing?
they're kind of left.
He's got his hands crossed like he's dying.
He's laying in
I think he's gonna lean back. The other guy's supposed to catch him,
Right.
but he didn't. He's
But
not.
but what
He's
is he
running
doing?
away.
he's running. Oh,
All
okay.
right. Well, he's
Okay,
not gonna
so-
That trust.
That's it. So trust is a critical part of understanding customer service. And who can tell me why? I hope y'all came to think this morning. I hope you had a cup of coffee or something, because I'm not giving you all the answers. I want you to think. I want you to think about this. Yeah, but he didn't ask y'all a bunch of questions. I am. So what is it about trust? Let's talk about realtor relationships. How many people have you heard that have said, I had a bad experience with a realtor?
Man, a lot of them. A lot.
How does that affect you?
Makes you want to do better.
No, it makes,
Negative.
Yeah, you're the winner.
There you go. So what you have to,
Trust you.
okay, well what you have to understand is that that's something you're up against. Because of this industrialized way of thinking and the way that business has operated for many years, even in our business, it's become about how many people can I help? How many people can I serve? You know, in one door, out the other, in one door, assembly line kind of thinking. How many widgets, how many units can I sell? How many people, buyers and sellers, can I get through, right? So, and in a large part because of that, and not just because of that, we are up against a barrier of a lack of trust, okay? And it's something we have to overcome. Okay, so that's the downside, but what's the upside?
If you're working with someone and you have to provide them good service, they're gonna really appreciate it.
Right. That's the upside.
Gaining
Is
people's
that
trust.
the level of service,
Maybe.
the level of customer service right now in our country is so poor. And I'm talking about just, and it's even in the way we think about things, we don't realize how little we expect from a service, right? We don't realize we're so on one hand we have a trust to overcome. On the other hand, it's a world of opportunity, right? Because if we can be the one that wows people when it comes to service, not just good customer service. Forget the skit we looked at, the little collage we looked at the beginning. Like I said, I can't help you if you're there. My goal this morning is to tell you and help show you how not just being good, but being amazing when it comes to serving your customers can make a big difference in your career. So here, this is an interesting, if I had to boil down to like maybe the top 5 or 10 things that I learned in business school that were like one little idea, and you have to study and learn a lot about it, and I'm going to skip all the case studies and all that stuff, and I'm just going to cut to what it was that I learned. One of the top things that I learned that kind of blew my mind a little bit was related to service operations and specifically to customer service. Okay, the relationship between customer satisfaction and customer profitability to the service provider are, does anybody want to try to finish that sentence? Okay, do y'all see that? Do you see you see this little, you know, in business school you see 100 million of these, and you're studying how one thing relates to another.
Directly proportional.
Right. So directly proportional is what you said. Okay. So customer satisfaction. If I have an increase in 1 unit of customer satisfaction, I will have an increase in 1 unit of profit. That's what this graph shows. Okay. Do we think that that's about right?
Mm-hmm.
That's what I thought. But it's not true. Okay, and I didn't even mean to make that thing do that noise. I don't know how I did that. Okay, it just, I'm not sure. It was something that PowerPoint did when I did this, but it's not. Okay, this is what we think in business, and folks, this is the other thing. A lot of things in business are not intuitive. They're not what you would have thought if you hadn't have studied it. Okay, and so the answer to this is not correct. It's not. It's not a one-to-one relationship. It's not a linear relationship. What's another type of chart that you might see? Anybody know? I mean, you guys are learning a little bit this morning. I know this is not what you typically experience in a day-to-day. Okay, the next slide is one of the most mind-blowing things that I learned in my MBA. Okay? And I don't know why that's doing that. I really don't, but it's a little over dramatic. Okay. This is more similar to what the studies show real customer satisfaction is like. Okay? And so the relationship is not linear when it comes to profits and what you get out of a satisfied customer. It's called an exponential effect. This curve right here is an exponential effect. Okay, so if y'all can see, I don't think you can. If you would take this chart and think of it in terms of right down here, you've got satisfaction measure, okay, and on this side you've got kind of the benefit of that satisfaction measure to you. Okay, so think of it as like profit, if you will, or financial benefit, or public relations benefit, or whatever you want to call it. Benefit to you and your little company. Okay. What you learn is that down here, at this worst case scenario, which this would be those collage of videos we saw this morning, right? What you create when you treat a customer like that is literally called a terrorist. Because they will wreak havoc. If you ever piss somebody off to that degree, they can literally deconstruct your business. Okay? They can destroy. They can use weapons of mass destruction on your business. Okay? And so they call them terrorists. And I mean, this has been studied. I mean, there's all kind of studies that show how bad that can affect you. Okay? So as you move from extremely dissatisfied to somewhat dissatisfied to slightly dissatisfied to satisfied, notice the bar doesn't get that much better. Right? But Essie, what happens when you go from satisfied to very satisfied?
It goes higher.
Right. It's more of a return. There's more of a change in what you get back. Okay? So, and again, I really want y'all, this is too much to try to absorb at one point, but what you have on the other end of this thing, if you can ever get someone to this point where they are super uber satisfied with what you do, that is where you have a raving fan. They call it an apostle on this chart. And that is somebody who will help you. They're like people on your salary payroll that you don't have to pay. Okay? And those are the kinds of people. I would say, and I would argue, that the most successful agents in the country today, the ones that not just are good, not just $1 Million Club, but the ones that somehow literally build an entire culture of people around themselves that continually feed their business, it's because they've figured this out. Okay, now obviously there's your exceptions from time to time, but the ones that literally have an army of raving fan apostles out there working the streets for them are because they figured this out. They found a way to create this kind of a feeling or a perception even. Okay? So just something to think about. I want to bring back a slide that we had. How does that relate to the cost of acquiring a customer and the lifetime value of a customer that we've continued to talk about? If there's an exponential effect when I serve somebody, let's just say I do everything that a customer expected of me, and I get right here. Okay? And remember, this is value. This is what you're going to get back out of the deal, right? But let's say I get to here with almost every one of my transactions. Okay? What does that mean? How hard did I have to work to achieve that versus if I could have done something to get them here, what does that mean for this? Who wants to answer that question? What is the lifetime value of a customer if you can get them to that very satisfied, raving fan apostle place? Does it go up or down?
It goes up extreme low.
It goes up
Yeah.
a lot.
Yes.
Like more than twice. Right? Let's just say you're at 40%. 2 times that is 80%. So you're at like 2.5 times the value. Excuse me. That's pretty cool.
It is cool.
You're at 2.5 times the value that you're going to get from that customer. right? Okay, so if now I understand that, even though in my mind yesterday I thought, well, that customer, I finally figured out that customer is going to do 7 or 8 transactions. If I can get, a lead or 2 from them, or if I can get even just, keep them somewhat satisfied, I'm going to get more business from them, right? Right? But if today I just figured out that if I can somehow blow them away, give them a service level that is legendary, that all of a sudden that value, that lifetime value, is 2.5 times greater. Right? So now that I know that, that customer is worth 2.5 times more than just a satisfied customer, how am I going to treat them? How can I treat them? In my mind, how can I afford to now treat them? Right? Because isn't that what it's about? It's not that we don't want to treat people with, and give them great service. It's that we feel like, holy cow, do I have time? Am I going to get the return on investment of my time? It's a business decision, right?
Right.
So what I'm trying to convey this morning is that only few people right now in our business have figured this out. Okay, so let's see here. In show. Sorry, I don't know why these links are not working, but I want to show you.
I began writing what they call a mission statement.
Who's seen this
Not
movie?
a memo, a mission statement. A suggestion for the future of our company. A night like this doesn't come along very often. I seized it. What started out as 1 page became 25. Suddenly, I was my father's son again. I was remembering the simple pleasures of this job, how I ended up here out of law school, the way a stadium sounds when one of my players performs well on the field, the way we are meant to protect them in health and in injury. With so many clients, we had forgotten what was important. I wrote and wrote and wrote and wrote, and I'm not even a writer. I was remembering even the words of the original sports agent, my mentor, the late great Dickie Fox, who said,
The key to this business is personal relationships.
Suddenly it was all pretty clear. The answer was fewer clients. Less money. More attention, caring for them, caring for ourselves, the games too, just starting our lives. Really. Hey, I'll be the first to admit it. What I was writing was somewhat touchy-feely. I didn't care. I had lost the ability to bullshit. It was the me I always wanted to be. I took it in a bag to a copy mat in the middle of the night and printed up 110 copies. Even the cover looked like The Catcher in the Rye. I entitled it, The Things We Think and Do Not Say. The Future of Our Business.
Finally, somebody said it.
Are they really praising him? For those who have seen the movie?
I was 35. I'd started my life.
How long have you given?
About a week.
Y'all hear that? So are they praising him? They're doing what? That's the beginning of the movie, but what are they doing? They're making fun of him.
Yeah, mocking him.
Why are they making fun of him, folks?
Why?
Yeah, I'm asking you, why?
I didn't see the movie.
No, why do you think they're making fun of him?
Because they don't think he's gonna be
think it's ridiculous, right? Fewer customers, less money. Right?
Yeah.
Does that make sense? Does that jive with the Industrial Revolution? But if you've seen the movie, and I hope that you won't mind that I'm going to ruin it for you towards the end. But I want to give a few examples this morning. I stole this from a website, and I'll make sure and give them due credit. But there's a thing called SlideShare, and I found some of these slides, some of these stories from online. So this is not my content, but that's pretty evident. And it says a rigid attitude might just be the antithesis of great customer service, proving that they're a company that knows how to have a little fun. This next story from Sainsbury's Supermarket highlights how your support team should spot great opportunities to do things that are quirky and out of the ordinary. Lily Robinson, who insists that she's 3.5 years old, was quite confused by one of Sainsbury's products called Tiger Bread. You ever heard of Tiger Bread? In her eyes, the bread didn't resemble a tiger at all. In fact, it looked very much like a giraffe. It's kind of hard to disagree. I don't know if y'all can see it or not, but to me it looks more like a giraffe than a tiger. With a little assistance from Mom and Dad, she wrote a letter to Sainsbury Customer Service Department. And I don't know if y'all can read this, but it says, "Dear Sainsbury, why is Tiger Bread called Tiger Bread? It should be called Giraffe Bread. Love from Lily Robinson, age 3.5. Okay. To her surprise, customer support manager Chris King, age 27 1/3, told her that he couldn't agree more. He explained the origins of the name. "I think renaming Tiger Bread Giraffe Bread is a brilliant idea. It looks much more like the blotches on a giraffe than the stripes on a tiger, doesn't it? It is called Tiger Bread because the first baker who made it a long time ago thought it looked stripy like a tiger. Maybe they were a bit silly." They wrote the letter and they sent her a gift card. Isn't that pretty cool? Lily's mom enjoyed the letters and ended up posting them on her blog. Before long, this cute correspondence was a viral hit, and the pressure was on for Sainsbury to change the name of the product to the much more appropriate Giraffe Bread. I don't know if y'all can see the title on that Facebook page, but it says, "Campaign to change Tiger Bread to Giraffe Bread at Sainsbury." Okay? Knowing the customer was certainly right in this instance, and spotting an unusual opportunity to do something fun. Remember that, okay? Sainsbury changed the name of the bread and put signs around their stores that give a humorous nod to Lily's original idea. And it says, "Thanks to a clever suggestion from one of our customers, we've changed the name of our Tiger Bread to Giraffe Bread. Don't worry, the recipe hasn't changed and the bread still tastes as great as ever." Does that blow your mind? I mean, how many of those letters just get thrown in the trash can? But do you think that at the end, by making one satisfied customer really satisfied, do you think that the net value ended up being better than just if they had said, sent her a letter and left it at that? They went one more, right? They went to a degree that no one would have expected them to go to. They changed the name of their bread. A company changed the name of their product because of a 3-year-old. Okay? So, when you get customer feedback, what is your first inclination and response? When you get feedback at all. When you start feeling like one of your customers is kind of not comfortable with something or they're not happy about something, what's your first inclination? Be honest here. Think about it. I can tell you mine, typically. Defensive.
Yeah.
We start protecting what?
Our actions.
Our actions. We start thinking about, what could I have done better? How much more time would I have had to spend, right? To make them happy. What could I have done? Right? So, you have to ask yourself, is the customer right? That's what these guys did. They said, the customer's right. You have to detach yourself from pride and hubris, right?
Yeah.
You have to say, maybe the customer's right here, whether they're 3-year-olds or not, you know. So what was the key to turning this inquiry into a positive for the customer and the company? What was the key?
Acknowledging that it did look like what she said.
That's at least half of it, for sure. At least half of it. Just saying, stopping and saying, huh, it kind of does look like giraffe bread.
And doing it.
A willingness.
Right. A willingness. Just a care, right? If I didn't give a damn, it wouldn't happen, right? But we're reading about this company and their giraffe bread right now in Macon, Georgia, because somebody cared, right? It must have made a pretty decent impression, okay? Just something to think about. Bungie Studio creates a holiday miracle. The belief that you should do your best to make things right with customers is tough. Customers in tough situations is a recurring theme among those companies with legendary customer service. That said, even the greats of the customer service world will have a hard time topping the story. In another outstanding example of taking care of customers, Bungie Studios, one of the most beloved game developers in the industry, raised the bar for the willingness to take care of their fans. The story begins with a distraught father whose son had to receive a liver transplant surgery around the holidays. Since being in the hospital left his son unable to play the newest release of his favorite video game franchise, Halo, his dad reached out to Bungie. The response he received from the company went far beyond what anyone expected. First, the entire Bungie team signed and sent a card with get well wishes. Pretty impressive. There's the kid opening the card. To make up for missing out on playing Halo, the team built him a custom helmet based off the main character and sent it along with shirts, toys, and custom art from the game's designers. Look at that. This is a big game. I mean, even kids 18 and 24 years old play this game. I mean, they sell a lot of copies. His father later posted a thank you thread and a collection of images on Christmas Day, which was when Bungie visited his son in the hospital and brought the gifts. He was absolutely shocked when he saw the custom helmet from Halo Reach. Bungie, you have played a huge part in making this smile. My family can't thank you enough. That was a quote from the dad. You can't fake that smile right there. So, do you strive to make things right? If something ain't right, did Bungie cause this thing to not be right? No. It ain't right when a kid's sick. No matter who made it happen, and if no one made it happen, it ain't right. And they saw that. They took notice of that. It wasn't that they made it wrong, but they noticed that something wasn't right. What could have the company done that would have made the customer satisfied? What would have, he wrote in, right? So what, he wanted something. What would have satisfied him?
Just getting the helmet?
Maybe just the
Thank
letter.
you note?
Just the card.
The card is fine.
The card? I mean,
Gift card.
I mean, heck, what if you just bought a $150 flat screen TV and you sent him a PlayStation 3 and a copy of the new copy of the game, and had it sent to the hospital? That would have blown me away. But what did they do? They went on Christmas Day. They sent him a card. They made him a helmet. God knows how much that cost, not just in money, but time. Okay? So yeah, they did more than that. So what's the difference between satisfactory service and legendary service? What's the difference?
Going the extra mile.
Whether you're a biblical person or not, I hope you'll appreciate that, you know, even Jesus said, if someone straps their load on you and they force you to walk a mile with them, what do? Y'all know what he said? Anybody? You go another mile. I mean, that's 2,000 years worth of wisdom there. Okay? And so the point of that is they made you go 1 mile. To get a satisfied customer, you had to go here, right? Remember, we're talking, if you can't, we're starting with satisfied this morning. We're not talking about that first skit. We're starting with, we know we got to go 1 mile, or we don't even need to be in here. But who's going to go that second mile? All right, so that's the one you didn't have to do. And guess what? Think about that guy. If you made somebody, if you had the power to make a human being strap your stuff on their back and not pay them anything and make them walk a mile for you, and then all of a sudden, they were done, and you were like, okay, whatever, go ahead. And they were like, no, I'm going to go another mile. I mean, just think about what kind of exponential effect, right? Isn't that what we're going for here? All right, so this story was posted on Reddit under the appropriately titled topic, I have never in my life seen this level of customer service, and included in this genuine, thoughtful thank you note. The thank you note says, and this is just from Jimmy's Automotive. Xander, thank you for your giving us the chance to work on your car. I truly appreciate your business, and I hope you were satisfied with the level of service we provided. Please don't hesitate to call on us again. Sincerely, Jim Shooks, or whoever, Shookies. What's the level of customer service expected of an automotive company? Small town automotive repair. If I can just get my car back, and it's running, and there's not handprint grease stains on my wheel, right? I'm pretty happy. If I get it back on in a timely fashion and the engine's still in there and the thing starts, wouldn't you say for their industry that's pretty impressive? Have you ever gotten a handwritten card from an automotive? From the owner of an automotive company? The best part of the tale is, despite the fact that this image was shared on the internet, random commenters started pointing out that they knew exactly which business this was. Of course it's this guy. I used to live in Streetsboro, and I know exactly who that is. He's a good man. Stay with him. Now that's the definition of memorable service. The praise continued with non-customers too, with one commenter saying, it's little things like this that earn business. If I got this card, I would never use another mechanic in my life. Okay? I'd say that person is borderline apostle right there. Wouldn't you agree? And this is the last example. Trader Joe's delivers literally. An elderly man, 89 years of age, was snowed in at his Pennsylvania home around the holidays, and his daughter was worried that he wasn't going to have access to enough food during the impending storm and bad weather in the area. After calling multiple stores in a desperate attempt to find anyone who would deliver to her father's home, she finally got a hold of someone at Trader Joe's and told her that they also do not deliver normally. Given the extreme circumstances, they told her that they would gladly deliver directly to his home, and even suggested additional delivery items that would fit perfectly with his special low-sodium diet. Unreal. After the daughter placed the order for the food, the employee on the phone told her that she didn't need to worry about the price. The food would be delivered free of charge. The employee then wished her a Merry Christmas. Less than 30 minutes later, the food was at the man's doorstep for free. In refusing to let red tape get in the way of a customer in need, Trader Joe's shows that customer service doesn't need to be about the fanfare. It can simply be about doing the right thing. There was one more, actually, I lied. We'll go through it quickly. United Airlines delays flights for dying mother. It's always heart-wrenching when a close family member passes. Sharing the final moments with a person we love can be a small respite in a truly difficult situation. Basically, the story was, I'm going to nutshell this one because we're getting close, and you'll get this in an email. But basically, this guy's mom was dying. He was on a flight. The change was the flight was running late and he was going to miss his change, and the captain and the employees in charge basically delayed the second flight so that he could get on, and he was able to spend the last couple of hours with his mother where he wouldn't have otherwise. So pretty amazing. Well, of course that news got out, and it ended up being a really big story, and this guy felt very inclined to share what an amazing experience he had. So his quote here was, "Airline employees are evaluated based on their ability to keep a schedule. Airlines compete with each other on who has the best on-time departure record. When the crew on this flight heard about the distraught passenger trying to make his connection, they must have said, 'to hell with it.' And they made the right call. We think so too." Think about that. Sometimes don't we have to do that? I was going to go to the gym. I had this and that to do. I got to keep a schedule. To hell with it. I got to take care of somebody. So think about that as we go. So this is kind of, again, this is a slide we've looked at before. Word of mouth visualized. Promoters and detractors. Okay, promoters are like the apostles, the raving fans. Detractors are the ones that'll rip your business to shred, right? Are there more promoters or detractors? Or let me put it this way, you probably know this already. Who can spread the word the fastest typically if you're not careful?
Detractors.
Right. That's exactly right. So you got to be careful to stay on that other end, to not stay on that other end of the spectrum. I'll tell you, the only thing I have time to tell you about, there's a whole topic called service recovery, and we did case studies and everything. In a nutshell, if you want the 2-sentence version of what took me weeks to study, the bottom line comes down to, when you fail, "Oh, I totally forgot to do this," or "I didn't include this in the contract," or "I was supposed to meet this client over here and something crazy happened and I totally dropped the ball." I don't know, none of y'all have ever done that. So. But just in this happenstance that something like that should happen, it might be important to know that studies have shown that you can actually take an experience like that and the end result be a more satisfied customer than if the incident had never happened. That's the 1-sentence version of the takeaway. It's called service recovery. And what you do is you basically throw yourself into a state of humility once you recognize that something has been wrong. You throw yourself, you humble yourself, and you basically go completely, I mean literally, you shut everything else down, and you completely focus on making it right. And studies have shown that in actuality, you can take a customer that would have just been, if it had never happened, they might have just been a satisfied customer, or if you didn't do anything at all, a completely dissatisfied customer, and you can take them from being a potential terrorist all the way up to being someone that can promote your business and be really happy. And y'all do your own research. It's called service recovery, and I'm telling you, as realtors, we need to know about that. We need to know how to do it, and we need to. The minute we realize we're in a service recovery situation, you have to immediately react. There's no other way to do it. Does that make sense? So I won't have time to go into that anymore this morning, but the last thing I'll do, let me just check my time here. I did an hour countdown from the time that I started, so let me see how we're doing. I think I got about 11 minutes. So I thought, some of these stories are great, right? But how do we drive this home? Because we all know of experiences where we've had with bad customer service. But recently, I had as you know, we hit a deer. Coming back from hitting the deer, we're buying a new car, coming back, we ran over a piece of rubber and busted the front and the back end of my Camry up. So it's like the worst series of events you could imagine. But there's a company called Floyd's Paint and Body Shop in Forsyth. Has anybody ever heard of them? Okay. Being there and being kind of a customer service person that, you know, I always look for it, and I'm always thinking about it when I'm going into transactional situations, like kind of where people are at, how good they are with it and whatnot. I saw this book at Floyd's Body Shop in Forsyth. And I started looking through it, and I thought, wow, this guy has a letter from the Better Business Bureau praising his services. He's got literally dozens of cards, thank you notes. I want to thank you so much for helping me and my family out the day before Thanksgiving. If it wasn't for your kindness, we could not have been with my family for Thanksgiving. I don't know how to thank you enough. I want to thank you for taking the time to look at my Acura. I really appreciate your helpfulness and honesty. And you go on, and I mean, there's just story after story. You came and rescued me on a Sunday, you know, afternoon, or you came during the night to pull my car out of the gutter, or whatever. I mean, it's like story after story. Rock Springs Church, thank you so much for help with our church van. It's running better than ever. And look at this handwritten note here. The most interesting one that stuck to me the most, which I just thought, man, you want to talk about it being a small world. See if I can find it. This letter right here, it says, encloses a check for the amount of blank to cover the cost of repairing Charlie's car. I sincerely appreciate your help and generosity. You are a special friend, and if I can ever return the favor, please call on me to do so. I will certainly refer as many people as I can to your business. I pray that God will continue to richly bless and prosper you and your business. Best regards, Gene Kernigan.
Wow.
I thought that was pretty impressive. And there's more and more and more. For a auto repair body shop, pretty impressive. We as realtors, we don't return a car. Literally all we trade on is service. So, you know, I hope we're all challenged a little bit this morning by this. I hope we're all inspired a little bit this morning to try to do more. Try to think bigger. Realize that sometimes less is more. How many people have ever used Craigslist? Did you know Craigslist finally got monetized like just a couple of years ago? Do you know how much money the guy made for years after producing that website? See, Facebook finally got monetized. How many years did we all use Facebook without Facebook making a dime? Okay? There's a phenomenon right now that our country is awakening to, and that it's a post-industrial assembly line way of thinking. In today's economy, and going forward in the future of our business and a lot of other businesses, it's not about meeting customer service. It's about standing out, finding ways to go above and beyond. Walk that first mile, and that's when you start the next one. Okay? And I'm just telling you, you guys are the lucky few this morning that are able to hear this. It's a big deal. I promise you that only a handful of you will probably do anything with it. I hope not. I hope not. I hope everybody here will make some kind of change this week and this month and this year to your business based on this. But just remember, it doesn't take too many of those apostles. You can have 10 satisfied customers and one apostle, and you'll almost be balancing out the same thing to what your business can do. So just hopefully that'll inspire you. The last thing I'll do is I just had one little video to kind of sum it all up, and then if we have a minute or two after, we can do questions, but I think we're done. looking at right there? What was that look in his eye? Does anybody know this movie?
Yeah.
That was the end of the movie. What happened was, after he'd done that whole thing, he walked into his office and he found out he'd gotten fired for that stupid paper he wrote. So then all of a sudden, the other guys, he didn't know it, they were already calling all of his clients to try to capture his clients before he moved off on his own and did his own thing. And do you know, he ended up with one customer when he left that company. And this was based on off a true story, if I
What was the
recall.
name of that movie?
Jerry Maguire. It's a
Uh,
great movie.
It is a great movie.
But if you watch the movie, what you learn is his method ends up being right. And that look in that other athlete's eye was, you know what, dude? There's a picture of a guy that gives a damn. There's a picture of a guy that cares about his athletes, the people he represents. And that look that you just saw was the look that I want every buyer and seller in this town to have when they think about you. Okay? I don't want to be with this guy. I don't want to be with that girl. Holy cow, look what Joe Lynn did. Look how much Nancy takes care of her customers. Vicki Wiley, she's been in the business less than a year, but look what she's done. You know, literally, you can be Jerry Maguire. Start off with just one customer. You see, but you can make an impact. So, guys, without further ado, I think I finished a minute early. Let's see here. I've got 3 minutes and 30 seconds. Any questions? Any comments, thoughts? Did this make an impression on anyone?
Yes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's fine.
Good. I hope so. All right. Well, I'll be around, and obviously I'll try to get this uploaded and sent to everybody and get the PowerPoint. But if you have any thoughts or questions about it, I'd love to chat and hear your feedback and ideas or anything else. So, thank you.
Good, thank
I
you.
appreciate y'all being here after a long day of class yesterday. It means a lot to me. Thank you.
Thank you.
Very good. George, the Sainsbury thing really struck me because Sainsbury's an English language.
Is that right?